the Sun, Jupiter, and Saturn Astrology, December 22nd through January 20th, Sun in Capricorn time frame, 2019, Year of the Earth Pig, with Steefen S. Campbell, Astrological Guide and Speaker. From time and place of birth in this solar system, ecliptic natal chart, tropical astrology, Chinese astrology, and astrocartography, to the galaxy, stars beyond the sun, constellations, visual astrology. To answer the existential question, do you know what the heavens know of yourself and your potential? Waterbearingfish.com, the age of the water bearer, carries away the age of Pisces. Why astrology? Discovering how life is programmed and discovering degrees of freedom for ascending the program. Psychology, autobiography, self-awareness, building our own character, self-help, self-improvement, gender studies, sociology, criminology, theology, enhancing self-acceptance, learning diversity appreciation, to develop more compassion, goodwill, fairness, love, forgiveness, and salvation from dangers from self, others, and life. Life diagnosis for self-talk, conversations, managing expectations, dealing with stress and anger, for life planning and life coaching, to study compatibilities and close relationships, building a biographical or autobiographical character for writers and performers, and to be challenged to understand astronomy, quantum physics, and concepts of the holographic universe with respect to the meaning of life, the existential questions. There are central themes in existentialism, and astrology addresses those central themes. If you would like, you can pause the video to read through this slide. I give tours of astrology. The reason I do is because there are people who now have me time. There may be a person on a journey of self-reliance, or a young person seeking independence. Someone may be starting over. Some people are into self-help and self-improvement. Others are wisdom seekers. 2 people may be considering marriage. 2 people may be considering a second marriage. So the tours help with self or couple discovery, acceptance, setting priorities, finding purpose, finding the best available place to go to school or to live, discovering the emotional needs that would be met in a relationship, or what you will be able to provide another person to help them meet their emotional needs. You may want to find out if you're compatible with a particular person. What would be the terms of that relationship? What would be the terms of self-acceptance or accepting the relationship? The cost of the tours are shown. One person. It will be a 3-week tour will cost $334.90. A two-person first-class couples tour of astrology has an additional week, week 4, and the total cost of the couples tour is $919.65, where both people would take the individual tour, the one-person tour, and then there is a charge for the 4th week. So this is not just a 1-hour reading. You can read through that chart if you'd like. Here's a bit of a breakdown of the costs. You're not just getting an astrological guide, but you are getting input from very respected astrologers such as Robert Hand, Bernadette Brady, Shelley Wu. Please feel free to pause the video and look through this slide. The Sun in Capricorn, December 22nd to January 20th. Happy birthday, Capricorn viewers! The table of contents for this presentation is shown. The Ophiuchus and Cetus constellations. Then we'll discuss solar system objects, the Sun, Jupiter, Saturn, and later the Moon. The Sun in Capricorn. We'll see a delineation, a zodiacal chart, and a sky map. We'll discuss triplicities, quadruplicities, and essential dignities. Jupiter in Capricorn, Saturn in Capricorn. Jupiter and Saturn retrogrades, if any. Transit cycles of aspects. This month we'll cover transiting Saturn going around the natal moon. You're going to find that very informative. And to wrap up, there will be 3 questions to personalize this month's look at Sun in Capricorn. As an astrological guide, I would like to remove my audience members, clients, viewers, readers, from being disparaged by astronomers. In tropical astrology, the zodiacs are named for the constellations on the ecliptic. The zodiacs are constellational in name only because 1. The constellations on the ecliptic are not 30 degrees each of the ecliptic, and 2. The Sun entered the constellation of Aries on April 19th, 2019, not the zodiacal start of March 21st, 2019. And although close, not the first day of spring, March 20th, 2019. Ophiuchus is also a constellation on the ecliptic after an intersecting Scorpio, the constellation Scorpius. Beyond the intersection of constellations, the serpent's handler's symbolism is deeply entrenched into the Scorpio's transformative challenges. Cetus the whale below Pisces is close enough to the ecliptic for orbiting objects in our solar system to enter that constellation. Therefore, I will mostly be using Scorpius and Ophiuchus for Scorpio, Scorpius for short. I may call Pisces, Pisces and Cetus. The fish and the whale are fish swimming above whale, Pisces for short. The Pisces icon would change by the bottom fish being slightly larger, representing the whale Cetus. The Sun represents your inner self, your personality, and your ego. The Sun tells us of the actual core of a person, of that which is of central concern. It also shows us the general vitality and the ability to assert oneself It describes a general tone of being which colors everything else. The traditional sign of the sun is the sign ruler of Leo, natural house 5, house Leo. The sun's house of joy in Hellenistic astrology is house 9 of worldview, distant travel, and higher education. Jupiter represents the principle of expansion in a chart. Jupiter represents the search for individual meaning and purpose, optimism, hope, and a sense of justice. Also, a basic philosophy of life, the striving for spiritual growth and expansion. Jupiter is the sign ruler of Sagittarius and Pisces. In modern astrology, the generational planet of Neptune is the sign ruler of Pisces. The natural houses are 9th house for Sagittarius and 12th house for Pisces. Jupiter's house of joy in Hellenistic astrology is house 11 of networking, friendships, social life, and volunteering. Saturn represents the learning principle. A lesson learned through Saturn is a lesson you will never forget. Saturn shows how we experience reality, where we meet with resistance and discover our limitations. It represents the conscience and moral conviction, the laws and rules which we choose to obey. It also tells us about our powers of endurance and the ability to concentrate. It lends qualities like earnestness, caution, and reserve. Saturn is the ruler of Capricorn and Aquarius. The 10th house, Capricorn, and the 11th house, Aquarius, are the natural houses. Saturn's house of joy in Hellenistic astrology is house 12 of reflection, seclusion, protective retreats, mysticism, savior-victim issues, charity, blind spot, escapism, faith. This is a delineation of the natal placement of Sun in Capricorn. The key word here is cautious. Ambitious, serious, and dedicated to duty, life may seem difficult for you, but you ultimately triumph. Although you are self-disciplined, responsible, and practical, at times you can wallow in self-pity. Your reasoning ability is excellent, and you have a strong sense of purpose and direction. You may appear somber and reserved in your dealings with others, but once you give your trust, you are a loyal and steadfast friend. Socially oriented, you are willing to work hard for anything you want, and your self-esteem is extremely important to you. I went on a search to find a delineation of the transit of Sun in Capricorn, but I could not find it. So this is how I modify the delineation of the natal placement, Sun in Capricorn, into a delineation or definition of the Sun in Capricorn transit. When the Sun moves through Capricorn, it does not experience an essential dignity. Flow with the energy of being cautious, ambitious, serious, and dedicated to duty. Tackle the difficulties of life to ultimately triumph. At this time, you may express your rationale better than usual. You have a strong sense of purpose and direction. You may appear somber and reserved in your dealings with others, but with the trustworthy, be a loyal and steadfast friend. Socially oriented, you are willing to work hard for anything you want. let your self-esteem be important to you at this time. Looking at this chart of the first day of Sun in Capricorn, we see Mercury is in Sagittarius, and the Sun is at 0 degrees Capricorn. Jupiter is close at 4 degrees, Saturn is at 20 degrees, and Venus is in Aquarius at 3 degrees. Here is the Sun in Capricorn. Here is Mercury in Sagittarius. The Sun is at 0 degrees Capricorn. Jupiter is close at 4 degrees. Saturn is at 20 degrees. Venus is at 3 degrees in Aquarius. Now we are going to drop out of the chart and go to the sky, where we can see the same objects of the solar system, not in the signs of the zodiac, but in constellations along the ecliptic. Here is Mercury, the Sun. Jupiter is next to the Sun. There is Saturn, Venus, all along the ecliptic of date. So here is Scorpio, followed by Sagittarius, followed by Capricorn, followed by Aquarius. So as you can tell, the order of the zodiac signs matches the order of the constellations in the sky along the ecliptic. The traditional ruling planet of Capricorn is Saturn. The gender is feminine. The natural house is the 10th house. The 10th house cusp is the midheaven. The polarity, like an opposition, is with Cancer in house 4. So we have the 4-10 polarity. House 4, house 10 polarity. The triplicity of 4 elements is a set of 3 signs, 4 signs away, where the 4 elements are fire, earth, air, and water. Capricorn is a member of the earth triplicity of Taurus, Virgo, Capricorn. The mode quadruplicity of 3 qualities is a set of 4 signs, 3 signs away, where the 3 qualities are cardinal, fixed, and mutable. Capricorn is a member of the cardinal mode quadruplicity: Aries, Cancer, Libra, Capricorn. Essential dignities: domicile, detriment, exaltation, and fall are debilitated. Domicile is a sign of the zodiac in which a planet is the ruler. The sign's qualities most closely resemble those of the ruling planet. Detriment, a sign of the zodiac in which a luminary or a planet is thought to express its inherent nature with difficulty. That planet is in detriment when it is in the sign opposite the sign it rules. For example, the Sun rules Leo. The sign opposite Leo is Aquarius. Therefore, the Sun would be in detriment in Aquarius. Polarity: Leo, Aquarius. Exaltation, a sign of the zodiac in which a planet is thought to express its inherent qualities in a particularly pure form. Modern astrologers do not agree on signs of exaltation for Uranus, Neptune, and Pluto, so exaltations are usually restricted to the 7 traditional planets. Fall debilitated, a sign of the zodiac in which a planet is thought to express its inherent qualities weakly, or at least they behave in a way that is foreign to their innate qualities. That planet is in fall, debilitated, when it is in the sign opposite the sign of exaltation. For example, the Sun is exalted in Aries. The sign opposite Aries is Libra. Therefore, the Sun would be in fall, debilitated in Libra. Polarity, Aries, Libra. Modern astrologers are not widely in agreement on signs of fall debilitation for Uranus, Neptune, and Pluto. So this dignity is restricted to the 7 traditional planets. The Sun is in domicile in Leo at natural house 5, and in detriment in Aquarius at natural house 11. 5-11 polarity. The Sun is in exaltation in Aries at natural house 1, and in fall debilitated in Libra at natural house 7. House 1, house 7 polarity. The essential dignities of the Sun in Capricorn 2019-2020. The Sun has no essential dignities in Capricorn. During Sun in Capricorn 2019-2020, Jupiter is in Capricorn. What is the delineation of that? What does that mean? Well, Jupiter in Capricorn, this gives a blend of positive extrovert qualities, Jupiter, with powerfully negative introvert ones, Capricorn. The individual is ambitious and determined and will not shirk responsibilities. He or she is able to work very hard and persistently, and usually has excellent powers of concentration. Parents of children with this placing must not expect their offspring to make meteoric leaps to the top of the class. Nevertheless, they will make very steady, gradual progress. And what is learned will be remembered. This is generally the pattern throughout life. The outlook is extremely sensible, neither shirking the acceptance of a challenge nor being blindly optimistic. Common sense and some caution should dominate, and hard-earned success will be the eventual outcome. There can be times when the more serious side of Capricorn will be to the fore, resulting in a tendency toward a rather bleak and marginally pessimistic attitude or outlook. The generosity and flamboyance of Jupiter will not often be evident when the planet is in this sign. However, the jolly Jupiter sense of humor combines with the offbeat Capricorn one to emerge when it is least expected, to the great amusement of those present. The individuals are usually kind and thoughtful, but sometimes pig-headedness and the tendency to think that they are always right can be evident. At times, this will tend to make them their own worst enemies, but these more extreme tendencies usually only occur if Jupiter receives a square aspect from the Sun or Moon. Pay extra attention to the placing and influence of Saturn, since if that planet is heavily aspected, the Capricorn influence on Jupiter will tend to dominate. Jupiter is in domicile in Sagittarius at house 9, and in detriment in Gemini at house 3. House 3, house 9 polarity. Jupiter is also in domicile in Pisces at house 12, and in detriment in Virgo at natural house 6. House 6, house 12 polarity. Jupiter is in exaltation in Cancer at natural house 4, and in fall debilitated in Capricorn at natural house 10. House 4, house 10 polarity. Jupiter is in fall debilitated in Capricorn. During Sun in Capricorn, Saturn is in Capricorn. Saturn rules Capricorn, so the planet will be a very powerful element of the chart when it is in this sign. You are determined but cautious, ambitious but practical, and you will make any number of sacrifices in order to realize your ambitions. You may be too keen on achieving power, which will make those around you uncomfortable. They will not care much for your social climbing either. You can also be rather stingy with your time and your money. Your family may feel neglected because you spend so much time at work. Saturn's no-nonsense inner voice will lay down the law so authoritatively that you will have difficulty not obeying instantly. Depression can be a byproduct of heavy Saturn transits. Do not push too hard for recognition or support from others. Saturn is in domicile in Capricorn at natural house 10 and in detriment at natural house 4. House 4, house 10 polarity. Saturn also is in domicile in Aquarius at natural house 11 and in detriment in Leo at natural house 5. House 5, house 11 polarity. Saturn is in exaltation in Libra at natural house 7 and in fall debilitated in Aries at natural house 1. House 1, house 7 polarity. Aries, Libra polarity. The essential dignities of Saturn in Capricorn during Sun in Capricorn, 2019-2020. Saturn is in domicile in Capricorn. Summary of essential dignities for Sun, Jupiter, and Saturn. Sun in Capricorn, 2019-2020. Essential dignities are in bold. Looking at this, I say be appreciative, compassionate, and understanding about variations in personal power and energy, tailwinds and headwinds among people, given the variations above. And there are many more variations. Jupiter and Saturn retrogrades. During this time frame, there are no retrogrades. You can consult the URLs for that information, and an additional source was the Astrolabe World Ephemeris. A transit cycle of aspects around a natal chart. On this slide, we have a list of aspects going around the chart in a clockwise fashion. The first, we'll start at 0 houses. That would be a conjunction. If it's 1 house away, you have a semi-sextile. If you have 2 houses away, you have a sextile. 3 houses away, that will create a 90-degree angle. That would be a square, followed by the trine, followed by the quincunx, inconjunct, followed by the opposition, the polarity that we discussed. When you have a conjunction, think blending. When you have a semi-sextile, think dynamic and difficult. The sextile is easier. It's flowing. The square is also dynamic, and that's sort of difficult. The trine is flowing. It's easy. The quincunx inconjunct is a disconnect. The opposition, it's not negative. It's energizing with positive results. These angles between, for example, 2 planets, they don't have to be exact. So 1, 2, 3, 4. The 4th column shows indicative orbs. Plus or minus 5, plus or minus 1.5, plus or minus 3 degrees, plus or minus 5 degrees, plus or minus 5 degrees, plus or minus 1.5 degrees. In this series of video logs, we will be exploring some of the transit cycles. We can look at certain aspects, selected transiting aspects around the ascendant. The sun goes around the ascendant. We can look at, as we did in the November 2019 video, sun going around the midheaven, conjunction, square, trine, opposition. There are selected transiting aspects around natal sun. You can have the sun going around the natal sun. You can have Jupiter going around the natal sun. You have Saturn going around the natal sun, Venus, Mars, Mercury. This month we're going to look at the fourth column, Saturn going around the natal moon. And as I said at the beginning of the presentation, this is important. In the last video we discussed the sun going around the midheaven. You can read this at your leisure. You can pause or come back to this part in the video and see a definition of the midheaven. But because we're going to talk about the moon, let's discuss the moon. The moon represents the emotions, the instincts, and the feminine principle. The moon also shows moods, desires, and needs. The moon represents our feelings and emotions, the receptivity, imagination, and basic feeling tone of a person. It also has an effect on the sense of rhythm, time, and timing. It influences our adaptability to change, our mobility, and versatility. The moon is the sign ruler of Cancer, natural house 4. The moon's house of joy in Hellenistic astrology is house 3 of siblings and relatives and communication. Saturn goes around natal moon. We're going to look at 4 Saturn-Moon aspects. Transiting Saturn conjunct natal moon. During this transit, you will need to engage in deep introspection, self-examination, and self-criticism. Quite possibly, you will feel lonely and depressed. The way in which you handle this transit will have important consequences later for your physical and psychological well-being. Saturn represents your notion of reality and how you fit into it. It strongly affects your sense of who you are as distinct from other people. It also represents an ideal of perfect orderliness, righteousness, and sternness. When you compare yourself to your Saturnine ideal, you become extremely self-critical and self-demanding. If you do not live up to the demands of your ideals, your confidence will suffer and you will feel a sense of weakness, defeat, and inferiority. The moon, on the other hand, represents your need for emotional nurturing, for belonging to a larger whole, and for compassion and understanding, as well as your ability to give these to others. Do not let your human feelings become subordinated to the too exacting demands of Saturn. If you do, you will be creating a distance between yourself and others. This is a good time for self-searching. This transit can help you find out if you are good or bad. If you have recently broke off a relationship, it may be best to leave it that way. Do not make a real effort to put it back together until this transit is over. Transit of Saturn squaring natal moon. Externally, this transit can create difficulties in personal relationships, especially with women. because your emotional communication seems to be cut off with Saturn square Moon. Your job may make demands that conflict with your domestic responsibilities, so that you are forced to neglect one or the other. Your parents may also be a source of concern at this time. Saturn represents the structure and formation of your ego, your sense of individuality and uniqueness, while the Moon represents your need for connections and roots. The conflict at this time is between aspects of these two principles. Somehow it is difficult to be yourself and do what you must, to maintain your relationships and get much needed emotional support and reinforcement from your loved ones. These elements of your life are not truly in conflict, for they are complementary principles that need to be properly balanced with each other. The problem is that one element has gotten out of control at the expense of the other, so a time of readjustment is at hand. Usually, it is the Saturnine element that has gotten out of control and the lunar principle that has suffered. You may have to make important changes in your life priorities. You may have to de-emphasize your work in favor of your emotional and personal life. Or you may have to break off a relationship that has interfered unnecessarily with your work. In either case, you must restore the balance between these two aspects of your life so that your life will run smoothly again. Now, when Saturn trines your natal moon, this transit indicates a time of equilibrium in your life, when the demands of the world are in balance with your emotional needs. Emotional maturity and past experiences have prepared you for this, and now you can put your understanding to work to make your life run more smoothly. Tensions that in the past have seemed to pull you in opposite directions are now working in balance and harmony. At this time, your emotional attitude is sober. Your mental state is relatively quiet, and you can see objectively what is true for you, what your needs are, and how much you can give and get from others. Your domestic life and your work reinforce each other, and you are able to attend to both without sacrificing either. Now is a good time to take care of any business matters concerning your home and personal life. On both the psychological and material levels, you are unusually well organized, and your plans should work out successfully. Older people, especially women, may give you great insight and understanding. Your own emotional attitudes are older at this time, and you are in a better position to take advantage of the insights of age, both your own and other people's. The counsel of such people will benefit you tremendously. Now is a good time to plan for the future in all areas of your life, because you are neither foolishly optimistic nor excessively conservative. You can adopt a very careful and pragmatic attitude and see what needs to be done. Your plans will be built upon reality without neglecting your real needs. Saturn opposes natal moon. This transit is frequently associated with domestic or professional problems, emotional depression, loneliness, difficulties with women, and difficulties with personal relationships, often leading to breakups. This transit may be a crisis brought about by the discovery that you have been neglecting your emotional, psychological needs. As a result, you feel alone and disconnected from others, like an alien in the world, whom no one else can ever adequately understand. To a greater or lesser extent, everyone's life revolves around an overall task or purpose that makes one's life unique. The purpose may be a job, motherhood, fatherhood, some movement that you believe in, or anything else that gives you a sense of purpose. This aspect of your life is strongly connected with Saturn. The moon represents your emotional needs, which you have to fulfill in pursuing your life's purpose. A crisis occurs when you discover that you have gone too far too fast in pursuit of your life purpose and have neglected your psychological and emotional needs. Perhaps you have neglected your relationships or your domestic life, or you have repressed your feelings. In this way, you build up a wall between yourself and others. This problem has arisen because you think of the Saturn-9 and lunar aspects of your life as being in conflict. Consequently, you neglect the one that you consider less important. Then, when unexpected new demands come from the other element, your whole sense of order is upset and disoriented. You have to learn that these two aspects are necessary to each other. You must make your personal life and your profession or other central purpose work together, perhaps requiring changing your lifestyle to pay equal attention to both. 3 questions to personalize our look at the Sun in Capricorn time frame. Question number 1. Where are you in the transiting Saturn going around your natal moon? Conjunction, sextile, not covered in this presentation, square, trine, or opposition? For me, transiting Saturn conjoined my natal moon last January. Number 2. Transiting Sun, Jupiter, and Saturn will enter what new houses of yours, if any, during this time frame? Will they be in their Hellenistic house of joy? Progressed Sun will enter what new house or sign of yours, if any, during this time frame? Progressed Moon will enter what new house or sign of yours? Answer for me: transiting Sun enters house 6, which is not the Sun's house of joy, house 9. Transiting Jupiter stays in house 5, which is not Jupiter's house of joy, house 11. Transiting Saturn stays in house 6, which is not Saturn's house of joy, house 12. My progressed Sun has entered Cancer, having started at a natal Taurus placement. It is in house 11, which is not the Sun's house of joy, house 9. My progressed Moon is in Aquarius, having started at a natal Capricorn placement. It is in house 7, which is not the Moon's house of joy, house 3. Question number 3. On a natal progressed transit triwheel, will transiting Sun, Jupiter, or Saturn conjunct your natal or progressed ascendant angle, your natal or progressed midheaven angle? Or you're living on a planetary angle? Check your personal astrocartography map on astro.com, extended chart selection, special charts, North America, astro map. Which one or which ones? Answer for me: no transits of Sun, Jupiter, or Saturn will conjoin my natal or progressed ascendant. No transits of Sun, Jupiter, or Saturn will conjoin my natal or progressed midheaven. This concludes this presentation. Please click the like button, the subscribe button, and the bell icon to get notified about every new video. YouTube comments are encouraged. If they are helpful to viewers, I will post them. Also, if you know someone who would benefit from viewing this video, please share it. Refer back to slide 3, Why Astrology, or any of the earliest lines for reasons to share this video. I invite you to visit the website www.waterbearingfish.com. There you will see I am an author working to improve my March 2011 nonfiction book on the historical accuracy of the Bible. The new book will have 8 more years of research and thought, improving my views and conclusions over before. This book would be an excellent text for a college course. I have other videos, Facebook pages, and a gift shop of t-shirts and mugs, pencil cup holders, to inspire and motivate you and your friends to get their bachelor's degree or wear the field of study they love, or celebrate their bachelor's degree, and to study and relax to brainwave and solfeggio music. And if you are a fan of classical music, there are some classical music products as well, such as classical music t-shirts and mugs, pencil cup holders. At the Water-Bearing Fish Etsy gift shop, click the favorite shop button and maybe even buy something you like for yourself or someone else, or refer someone else to it. As of today, I have many more products to add. Best wishes for your Sun in Capricorn time frame. Thank you. And thank you, Susan Miller, for traveling to Dallas to speak to the Astrological Society of North Texas, ASNT, and friends on January 4th, 2020.